Revelation 16. Then I heard a loud voice from the temple saying to the 7 angels, "Go and pour out on the earth the 7 bowls of God's wrath." So the first angel went and poured out his bowl on the earth, and foul and painful boils came upon the people having the mark of the beast and worshipping his image. Next, the second angel poured out his bowl into the sea, and it became blood like that of a corpse, and every living thing in the sea died. And the third angel poured out his bowl into the rivers and the springs of water, and they became like blood. Then I heard the angel of the waters saying, "Righteous are you, the Holy One, who is and who was, because you have passed these judgments. For they have poured out the blood of the Kedoshim and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink. They are deserving." Then I heard the altar saying, "Yes, Adonai Elohi Zavat, true and righteous are your judgments." The fourth angel poured out his bowl in the sun, and it was permitted to scorch people with fire. People were scorched with fierce heat, and they cursed the name of God, the one who has power over these plagues, but they did not repent to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom was plunged into darkness. People gnawed their tongues in pain and cursed the God of heaven because of their pains and their boils, but they did not repent for their deeds. The sixth angel poured out his bowl over the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. Then I saw, coming from the dragon's mouth, and from the beast's mouth, and from the false prophet's mouth, 3 unclean spirits like frogs. For they are demonic spirits performing miraculous signs, who go out to the kings of the whole world to gather them for battle in the great day of Elohi Zavat. Behold, I am coming like a thief. How fortunate is the one who stays alert and keeps his clothes on, lest he walk around naked and see his shamefulness. Then the spirits gathered the kings to the place called in Hebrew Har Megiddo. The seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air. A loud voice came out of the temple from the throne, saying, "It is done." And there were flashes of lightning and rumblings and clashes of thunder and a great earthquake, such as never happened since mankind has been on the earth. So mighty was the quake. Then the great city was split into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations collapsed. Babylon the Great was remembered before God to force her to drink the cup of the wine of his furious wrath. Every island fled away, and no mountain were to be found. Enormous hail, but 100 pounds each, falls from the heaven on the people, and the people curse God because of the plague of hail so extreme that was that plague. Revelation 17. Then one of the 7 angels holding the 7 bowls came and spoke with me, saying, "Come, I will show you the sentencing of the great prostitute who sits on many waters. The earth's king commits sexual immorality with her, and those who dwell on the earth got drunk with the wine of her immorality." So he carried me away in the ruach into a wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was full of blasphemous names, that had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was clothed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. She was holding a golden cup in her hand, full of detestable things, and the filth of her immorality. And on her forehead was written a name in mystery: Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the detestable things of the earth. And I saw the woman drunk with blood of the Kedoshim and with the blood of the witness of Yeshua. When I saw her, I was totally astounded. But the angel said to me, "Why are you astonished? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, and yet is about to rise up from the abyss and head for destruction. Those who dwell on the earth, whose name have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will be astonished when they see the beast, because he was and is not and is to come. And this calls for a mind of having wisdom. 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman is seated. There are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, the other has not yet come, and when he comes he must remain a little while. The beast that was and is not, he himself is the 8th, and is one of the 7, and is heading for destruction. The 10 horns that you saw are the 10 kings who have not yet received royal power, but received authority as kings of the beast for 1 hour. These kings are of one mind, and they give their power and authority to the beast. They will make great war against the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, because he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and those with him are called and chosen and faithful. Then he tells me, "The waters that you saw, where the prostitute is seated, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. The 10 horns that you saw and the beast, these will hate the prostitute. They will make her desolate and naked. They devour her flesh and burn her up with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to do his will, and to be of one mind, and to give their royal power to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled. And the woman that you saw is the great city exercising kingship over the kings of the earth." Revelation 18. After these things, I saw another angel Coming down from heaven. Having a great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his glory, he cried out with a mighty voice, saying, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great. She has become a den for demons, a haunt for every unclean spirit, and for every unclean bird, and for every unclean and detestable beast. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the fury of her immorality. The kings of the earth have committed sexual immorality with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich off the power of her self-indulgence. Then I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, lest you participate in her sins and receive her plagues. For her sins have piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Pay her back just as she had paid out, and give her back double for her deeds. In the cup she has mixed, mix a double dose for her. As she has exalted herself and indulged herself in luxury, so give her the same measure of torment and grief. For in her heart she says, I sit as a queen, I am no widow, I shall never see grief. For this reason her plagues will arrive in a single day, death and grief and famine, and she shall be buried down with fire. For mighty is Adonai Elohim who judges her. Then the kings of the earth, who committed sexual immorality and indulged in luxury with her, shall weep and wail over her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing far off because of the terror of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, O great city, O Babylon the mighty city, for in a single hour your judgment has come. And the merchants of the earth weep and mourn for her, because no one buys their merchandise any more. Shipments of gold, silver, precious stones and pearls, fine linen, purple and silk and scarlet, all kinds of citron wood, all kinds of ivory products, all kinds of products made from costly wood, bronze, iron, and marble, cinnamon, spice, incense, myrrh, and frankincense, wine, oil, fine flour, and wheat, cattle, sheep, horses, and chariots, and slaves, that is, human souls. The fruit of your soul's desire has gone from you, and all the expensive and the beautiful things are lost to you. Never again will people find them. The merchants of these things who became rich for her shall stand far off for fear of torment, weeping and mourning, saying, Alas, alas, O great city, clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in a single hour so much wealth has been ruined. And every ship captain and passenger, sailors, and all who make their living at sea stood at a distance and were crying out, seeing the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like this great city? And they threw dust on their heads, and they were crying out, weeping and mourning, Alas, alas, O great city! In her all who had ships at sea grew rich from her wealth, for in a single hour she has been ruined. Rejoice over her, O heaven, and your Kedoshim, and you Kedoshim, emissaries and prophets, for God has judged her condemnation of you. Then a mighty angel picked up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into the sea, saying, So shall Babylon, the great city, be thrown down with violence, never to be found again. And the sound of the harpists and musicians, flautists and trumpeters shall never to be heard in you again. And the craftsmen of any craft shall never to be found in you again. And the sound of a mill shall never to be heard in you again. And the light of a lamp shall never shine in you again. And the voice of the bridegroom and bride shall never be heard in you again. For your businessmen were the tycoons of the world, for the nations were deceived by your sorcery, and in her was found the blood of the prophets and Kedoshim and all those slaughtered on the earth. Wow.